Hi guys, welcome to Code with Chaz and another exciting video. Today I am very excited to show you RabbitMQ, how RabbitMQ works and what does it accomplish. So RabbitMQ basically is an open source message broker that enables applications to communicate with each other by sending and receiving messages. It acts as a middleman basically, what ensures that messages are delivered reliably between systems and even if they are written in a different programming languages or running on a different platform. So RabbitMQ is a very handy tool to use in modern microservices architectures and applications. So it's a very handy tool to run. So I'm excited to show you what kind of features and support RabbitMQ has. Here are some of the key features of RabbitMQ. It stores messages in queues until they are processed by the receiving applications. It allows systems to work independently, reducing dependencies between them. It ensures messages are not lost even if the receiving application is temporarily available, which plays a major role in reliability and scalability of the big data applications. It handles high volumes of messages and can be scaled horizontally. It supports multiple messaging protocols and works with applications written in different programming languages like Python, Java, Node.js, .NET, etc. So here is the high-level architecture of RabbitMQ. You can think of RabbitMQ basically as a post office, right? So in post office, when you want to send a letter to your friend, you go to the post box, and then the post box, the letter gets picked up, goes to the sorting center, and then a letter carrier delivers your letter to your friend. So RabbitMQ basically works on the same principles. You have a producer application that sends a message to an exchange, and exchange basically what it does is just sends a message to a proper queue. So for example, you have a queue named hello or whatever the name is. The message exchange will transmit your message to the proper queue, and then queue will store all your messages. So a queue is basically where all the messages are stored and is only bound by the host memory and disk limitations. Essentially, basically, it is a large message buffer. So we can have many producers applications sending a message to the queue, and we can have many consumers consuming a message from the queue. So producer, consumer, and the broker, they don't have to be on the same host. They can be on a different host. And also the producer and consumer applications can be on the same project or same solution basically. So I'm going to be using a small C# application which will demonstrate how RabbitMQ works. So basically, I'm going to be using Docker to install RabbitMQ on my local machine, local system, and I'm going to be using two applications. One will be a producer application which will send a message to RabbitMQ, and I'm going to be using another consumer application written in .NET 8 C#, which will be consuming messages from the RabbitMQ. So if you don't know Docker how it works, I would suggest to look up some videos and how the basics on how the Docker works. I'm going to be using, which is a very handy tool to install RabbitMQ in your container. Basically, you don't have to install the whole RabbitMQ application. I'm just going to be using container to do that. So let's get started. So let's get started with Docker. As you can see, I have few containers running in Docker, and you can see my images as well. I have a bunch of images running, but I did not install RabbitMQ yet because I want to start from scratch. So let's get started. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to be running few commands. So let me first see what is the Docker version I'm running. So I'm going to be issuing this command, and let's see which Docker I'm running. So I'm running Docker 27.4.0. So I think that's the latest one since the time of recording. Okay, let's pull RabbitMQ image right now. So you can see. So management image basically means that it's going to be providing a management plugin, which will be a web UI. So I'm going to be pulling this image, and once you pull, it will take maybe a few seconds. So you can see that we are able to pull the RabbitMQ management image and install right now. So if I go back to my images, you can see that I have RabbitMQ image pulled here, and now you can see there's no container yet. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to issue another command. So this command basically what it will do, it will it will start our container. So this is the command. So you can see that my host name for the RabbitMQ would be my Rabbit, and the name of the image is RabbitMQ, and this is the port basically where it's a communication port basically, where is used for RabbitMQ communications, and this is the port which is used for the RabbitMQ UI, and this is the image, and this is the plugin I'm pulling. So I'm going to be running this command, and you can see that my container is there now, and you can see it's green. It means my container is running on this port. So let's basically see. Let me see what version, basically what RabbitMQ container I'm running. So you can see that container is RabbitMQ management, and up 16 seconds ago, and this is where it is running. And you can also see that some of the ports being used for this, and the ports that we are interested in this one. So let me go to the browser. So I think now we have this running. So I'm going to be going to the browser, and I'm going to copying the 15672. So by default, it comes with the username, password, guest. So I'm going to be logging in, and you can see now I have my RabbitMQ running, and you can see in the exchanges section, you can see what kind of protocol it is running, and you can see in the channels and the queues, you can see what kind of queue we have. Right now, we don't have any queue, which we're going to be creating from C# applications. And yeah, so right now it's running, but there's no queue, there's no messages coming in. So we'll see next. So in the end, if you are done with this, you can see here we have a container running and image running. In the end, if you want to remove this container and image, you can basically run following commands. I'll show you the commands. You can have docker stop RabbitMQ. This will stop the RabbitMQ, basically the container running. And if you want to remove the whole RabbitMQ image, you can just issue this command MQ. This will basically remove the RabbitMQ image from your system. But at the moment, we want to keep it because we want to use this in C# application. So we will keep it. And next, we will hook this up with the C# application. So if we go back to our drawing board, we can see that for the RabbitMQ, we need a producer application and we need a consumer application. So the producer application will send a message to the queue, and the consumer application will be consuming that message. So let's go to the application. So I have already implemented the solution. I'll explain what I have done here. So I have one solution RMQ, which is RabbitMQ. I have one producer application and one consumer application. So producer application, I can show you the properties here. So consumer and producer, they both are .NET 8 framework applications. They are console applications, and basically they just have one function that sends a message and receives a message to the queue. You can see that I am using RabbitMQ.client and .client events library here. So for that, you would need, basically, if you go to the you need to install one NuGet package. You can see that I have RabbitMQ.client NuGet package. I'm using version 7 at the moment. So you need to install that. Once you install that, both in producer and consumer applications, then you can use this RabbitMQ.client library. This library, basically, you need to connect to RabbitMQ, do the connections, and make sure everything is working. So we have a producer application, RMQ producer. Here you can see that I have only one main function, and the way it works is that I have put everything async because RabbitMQ, we want to make everything asynchronous, and you can see the function. So first, let's start so basically we're making a factory here, and then we're connecting. The host name is localhost, and the port is 5672, where our RabbitMQ is running. So I think I've shown last time that we have this RabbitMQ running. 15672 is the port, and this is where we're going to be connecting. The 5672 is a communication port that we need to connect to the RabbitMQ from our application. So here we are declaring a channel on the connection. So what the channel basically does is that it used to communicate with RabbitMQ Basically, it is used to declare the queues, publishing the messages, and stuff like that. And we have, you can see that we both are, these variables are wrapped around using, because we want to make sure they're disposed properly after the call. So here we are declaring our queue. The queue is declared asynchronously, and queue name is hello, and we are using few parameters here. The first parameter is durable. Durable, basically what it does is that if it is true, then queue will survive the server restart. So for example, if the server got restarted, if you put it to true, then it will survive the server restart. Right now we're just using for demo purposes. I put this to false. Exclusive means queue can only be used by this connection here. I put to false because we want to use it for the connection as well. And you can see that auto delete is set to false. Basically what it means, queue will be deleted when the last consumer unsubscribes. So this is set to false. So this is how we declare the queue, and then our message that we're going to be sending or producing to the queue is called hello world. And you can see the body is used to send the message. So you can see that our message is encoded into a byte array using UTF-8 encoding basically. So what it means that RabbitMQ messages are sent over using a byte array. So here we're using a basic publish async method over the channel variable. So basically what it does, it expects an exchange. Exchange is where the messages are published to. So right now we're keeping empty because we want to send it to default exchange. And our routing key, which is the name of the queue, is hello. This is we already declared. And the body is the message in a byte array that we need to send to the queue. And in the end, we just going to write a message to console that this is the message that is sent. And then we're just going to wait for user to enter to exit. So this is the main program, which is a producer program. And this is how we basically connect to the RabbitMQ. We use a channel to declare the queue, and the queue name is hello, and then we send a message to the queue, and then we publish this message to the exchange. And in the end, we just basically wait for the user to press enter, or and then we can exit like this. So this is our consumer application. You can see that it's the same .NET 8 console application. The first few messages are the same. So basically what this does is that it connects to the RabbitMQ server using localhost and the port. And then second, it declares a queue called hello. Then it creates a consumer that listens to the message in the queue. And then we log that message to the console. Whatever message we receive will log into the console. And then in the end, it waits for the user to give an input and then exits. So this is the whole program. The program is the same, but the only thing different is this consumer method. So you can see that to the consumer, we attach the event handler called received async. And when the message is received, the message is converted to a byte array in ea.body. And it's going to be converted to UTF-8 encoding. Then the message is logged into the console, and in the end, the completed task is done to indicate that the operation is completed. So you can see that in the end here we start consuming the message in the await statement here. So basically what happens is that we start consuming the message on the queue called hello, and we are using this auto act true, which means is that if it is set to true, that RabbitMQ will automatically acknowledge messages when they are delivered. If it's set to false, then we have to manually acknowledge the message. And you can see that in the end we have the consumer object, which will handle the incoming messages. So all the incoming messages are consumed by the consumer object. So this is how we're going to receive the message. So next we're going to be running these two applications side by side to see how the message is produced and consumed. First, make sure that your Docker is running and in the Docker RabbitMQ container is running. That's the first step. Second step, make sure you can log in, and you can see here when you log in, you see that there is a queue already called hello, and the messages, you can see there is no message coming in. Everything is empty. So let me run the two applications together. So this is our first application, which is the consumer, the producer or the sender, and this is the consumer application. First, let me run the consumer producer application. The command is rmq sender.exe. Since this is PowerShell, we have to add dot backslash, and this is how it's going to be running. And you see now we have sent one message called hello world to the queue. Let me exit. Let me send one more message. Exit. Let me send one more message. So exit. So we have 3 messages sent to the queue in RabbitMQ. And let's go back to the UI, and you can see in the UI we have 3 messages ready to be consumed. And if you go back to the overview, you can see that in the graph, for the last 10 minutes, we received 3 messages and they are ready to be consumed. So let me run our consumer application. It's going to be rmq consumer.exe, and then we add dots backslash. Let's run it. And you see that they were waiting for messages, and then it received the 3 messages. And then let's exit it, and we exit the application. And now you can see we'll go back to RabbitMQ that there are no messages ready to be consumed or produced. So all the messages are gone. And let's go back to overview, and you can see that our graph dropped. It means all the 3 messages got consumed. So that's a wrap with today's overview of RabbitMQ. And what we learned is that how to install RabbitMQ using Docker, and how to integrate RabbitMQ with your .NET C# applications. So if you found this helpful, please give a thumbs up to this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel Code with Chaz, and wait for more programming tips and tutorials coming up. Thank you.